Welcome back. We're welcoming back Jasmine Kyle from the Sek-Humane Society into our studio this morning. And big news. I'm so excited to hear that Bark in the Park is returning.
Yes, ma'am. So we've been working on this behind the scenes for a few months now. And we just got word from the city of Pittsburgh yesterday that our permit's approved. So yes, Bark in the Park, one of our favorite outdoor community events, it is coming back for 2022. We are looking at the date of October 15th. From 11 to 3, all of our usual Bark in the Park activities, they are coming back in full swing. So we're going to have vendors. It's back at Schlinger Park as well.
Okay.
We'll have vendors all across the park. We're going to have our dog show. We're going to have the community dog walk. We've already confirmed with Good Boy Professional Dog Training that there's going to be free dog training demos on site. We are looking at a super duper fun packed day, to say the least.
Are you going to be utilizing the dog park portion of Schlinger Park, or doing it all out in the big open area?
Oh yeah, big open area, because we get a lot of community members. And again, the dog park that the city has is gorgeous, absolutely great. But with so many people and animals on site, we like to use the whole park's advantage. But if your dog and yourself are getting a little too much and need a break, the dog park is a nice way to walk away, kind of de-escalate, and just get to have fun with yourself. But we'll have food vendors on site. We're getting some timelines and some events prioritized right now, so I can't say a whole lot, but there's going to be a new art activity that includes dogs and their pet parents. So we've got a lot of exciting news to come, but we are blessed that we're able to bring this event back, because with the pandemic, we haven't been able to really have one of these very large-scale in-person events. But with everything getting on the mend and with the city's approval and getting our plans in place, we're super excited.
Oh, this will be fun, definitely. And again, when is the date that we're looking at for this?
Yeah, October 15th. It used to be in July, and it's so hot. So we moved it last year to the fall timeline, and it was much better. So October 15th from 11 to 3, so for 4 hours.
All right, that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the heat of the summer in July, and you know, the heat index yesterday was just insane.
Yeah.
We need to be taking care of our pets right now.
Yeah.
Like, if your pets have to be outside during the day, what are things that we can do to help them?
Yeah, so the first thing we always recommend, if it's a hot day, put your hand on the concrete. Not on your side, not when you go out in your door and your door porch, you know, and you put your hand, it's in the shade. No. Go out to your strip of the concrete, and where that sun is on, put your hand down. If you can't comfortably put your hand on that concrete, that's too hot for your dog's paw pads. I mean, that's really bad. So with another thing that we would also highly recommend is bring not only a water bottle for yourself, bring one for your dog. Especially there's silicone pop-up cups that you can buy at pet stores. They cost $5 to $8, or you can bring one of your own Tupperware plastic bowls in your fanny pack. Make sure that you can have a stop at a break. You know, if you're going from location from A to B, that dog can easily and you can sit down. You can have a drink, but they can have a drink too, because you keeping hydrated is just as important as your dog keeping hydrated, because they sweat out of their paw pads. So make sure that they, especially for heavier breeds like German Shepherds, Great Dane, not so much Great Danes, but St. Bernards, those heavy coats, they can easily get heat exhaustion, including some specific mixes like pugs that have upper respiratory issues with breathing. It's really not good for them in that heat. So please make sure that if it's too hot for you to touch, it is too hot for them to touch. And then bring water for them. A lot of people will forget that on walks, but please bring water.
And then back at home, I mean, we've talked about this in the past, putting ice in their water dish.
Yes.
You know, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some really nice DIY recipes that are dog safe that you can actually add to their water bowls, like pumpkin puree treats, watermelon juice treats. Absolutely. Those are a super fun summer activity for kids too. I was just at Walmart the other day, and they had these silicone paw pads, which were like $5, and we started making our own DIY dog treats and that type of stuff. And it was a good family activity that you can do on the weekends. It took 30 minutes to maybe mix everything up, put it in the freezer, and in a few hours you pop them up, and that's just a fun activity.
Oh, cool. So you actually have like the floating treats in there.
Exactly, and it's something great for kids. So if you're looking where your kids need a little bit more activity, maybe something to keep them busy, that's awesome. So not only do they get cooking experience, but they're getting enrichment out of it, and the dog's getting a super special bonus treat.
And just like your kids who like to play in the water, your dogs do too.
Absolutely. We're actually working on cat enrichment right now at our shelter. We have a giant renovation project happening. Our cat room right now looks a little rough, and it's for good reason. We have stripped all of the wood from it. So about a year ago, we started working with the United States Humane Society and the Department of Ag with the state of Kansas, because ringworm was becoming such a huge issue for shelters. So ringworm is not a worm, it's a spore. That's what a lot of people don't realize. That spore can last over a year active in the air. You can get ringworm wherever. You can get it in the park, you can get it in a store. If it's on your shoe and you bring it home, it is one of those new topics where people can get it, but so can animals. Now it is easily treated, but it's a pain to treat for animals because it usually requires 2 to 4 weeks of medication. So for us, on what we have had for 40 plus years is our cat room, which is an open air cat room, right, where everybody's loose. So let's say, for example, that spore, and with our old wooden features, if a cat scratches and that spore goes in the wood, that's now in the wood. And with what do cats do, they rub against, and then you have cross-contamination.
Yeah.
Same thing if somebody from the public has ringworm at their house and doesn't know the signs of it, and they come into that room looking for adoption, it's cross-contamination. So what you have probably seen from a lot of shelters across the United States in the past year or two is a lot of people transforming their cat rooms with actual kennel units inside of them, getting rid of wooden features to switch out to metal, which is much more sanitary, and that's exactly what we're doing. So we've demoed that room. All of the wooden side features and the ramps, they're gone. We have brand new luxury condo units that are being shipped to us, and shipping is a huge thing in the US right now, so we're waiting for those kennels to come in. We have a giant 3-stage metal tower for the cats, metal benches for that room for people to sit on so we can still take cats out and you can still play with them. Metal cabinets, the whole 9 yards. So that room is getting a major renovation and makeover, and we are super excited.
I never thought about the wood, and like, it's like that
right?
in every shelter. You know?
And we didn't think that either until Kansas Department of Ag reached out, and they were like, yeah, some shelters are making changes. And then we reached out to our state representative with the HSUs, and they were like, yeah, that is actually a huge thing, and we highly recommend you start working your way to get rid of wood. And of course, we'll miss those features, right? Because they were easily made, and we've had to fundraise so much to be able to get to this point. But we're so happy because these enrichment units and these new luxury cat condo units that are coming in, they're gorgeous. They will be absolutely amazing for these animals too. We have, thankfully, 2 contracted stores here in town where we also do cat adoptions, which is Claws and Paws Pet Store on 4th Street, and then Pet Sense out by the big Walmart here in Pittsburgh. So the cats that we have usually don't stay in our cat room for very long either. They usually will go out to those locations and get adopted, but if we have them on site, they'll have this brand new room with giant enclosure units, with brand new activity zones. It's gonna be great.
Cool. That'll be fun to check out once we get that shipping here.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we go?
No, we have a lot coming up, but as again for this weekend, we have our Pet Sense event this Saturday. We're gonna have 3 puppies on site, Great Dane, Red Heeler mix, and a Border Collie mix. And then this Sunday is our first ever microchip clinic to the public. I have 10 spots left, and you can purchase those at the Doggy Bag at 514 North Broadway. They're open from 11 to 6 Tuesday through Saturday. And again, the biggest thing with these vouchers is you have to present me your up-to-date rabies vaccine. Okay. That's our only requirement. And we're doing cats and dogs. No cattle, no horses, please, but we will do cats and dogs, okay?
All right, and we talked in depth about both of these events coming up this weekend in our other interview, and you can find that later this morning on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Thank you so much for coming in,
Thank you.
And hope to see you in a couple weeks.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back.